Hello from Hollywood. My name is Anthony Boyer. I've been a talent agent in Los Angeles and New York for the last 15 years, and this is Take Fountain. Today we're going to be talking about why everything in your career changes when you get a good agent. Now, I've worked with actors at every level, whether they were brand new, fresh out of college, fresh to Los Angeles, or series regulars, or, I've got clients who have, stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame already. And one of the most common misunderstandings I see is how actors underestimate what happens when they actually land a good agent. The opportunities, the responsibilities, and the mindset shifts. And I'll share some examples that can help you decide if you're ready for the next step. A good agent is a career multiplier. Not all agents are created equal, but there are many good agents. Now, whether they're good for you is really the question. But a good agent is going to take everything that you're doing and make it more effective. They're going to take the career you're building and multiply it. Now, they're going to transition from you self-submitting on projects, or they're going to transition from you going in on smaller roles into direct pitches to casting directors, conversations with producers, directors. They're going to get you into larger rooms a lot of times if it's a good agent. And you're going to go from like generic sort of auditions to many times strategic on-brand moves that are moving forward the career that you are building. And with that increased access comes increased expectations. Now, I get a lot of actors who say that they're ready to level up their career, and I'm not sure that a lot of them understand quite what that means. When you do sign with an agent who really gets you and who's really good for you, the business side gets real fast. Representation shifts your career from passion to partnership. You're going to be working with somebody, whether it's an agent or a manager, but in this video, we're talking about agents. And I think a lot of people think, well, the agent will take care of things now. That simply isn't the case. You can't just wait for the phone to ring or for the emails to come in. The reality is it's more like a gym, right? You still actually have to show up and put in the work. So, you have to be ready. What does ready look like? It means sharp materials. It means you're polishing your craft. You're constantly working on your craft. And it means that you have a business mindset, something we talk about on this channel a lot, right? Understanding how to run your business. Now, what the agent is going to do is they are going to amplify that. So similar to the gym, I can't motivate you to go to the gym. You have to go to the gym. And when you're running your business, I can't motivate you to get into acting or to do your work, to do your side of things. You don't want me spending my time motivating you to put in the work. You want me to spend my time creating opportunities for you. Now, with better opportunities comes greater impact from your decisions, right? When you're just self-submitting on Actors Access, for instance, maybe you get an audition, it isn't your vibe, you just blow it off. Well, with an agent, we're frequently putting our reputations on the line, we're working our networks, we're working our contacts. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do every audition that we send to you, but it does mean that if an audition is not right for you, if it doesn't work for you, if you're going to decline, you should have a conversation with your agent so that we're not spending our time on projects that are not in line with how you see your career going. It's not just you affected anymore. It's a lot of people. It's not just me affected. It's my other clients. It's the relationships I've built. And so you've entered into a partnership. And with a partnership comes some additional responsibilities. You're being seen for higher level projects. I've got a client, for instance, who she was just recently, she's a talent agent. She was just talking about how she was building her business, her agency. And to her, it was just this passion project she started. It was something she was doing. She had a handful of clients, good clients, and they were working and it was all good. But it never felt real to her. She would say if I just walked away tomorrow, it would not be that big a deal. But one day she turned around and she realized that there are all these other agents now, and she is running a business that is their company. That's who they work for. That if she doesn't show up tomorrow, if she, walks away, suddenly they can't feed their families and suddenly, they lose their insurance or whatever. And I want you to think about that way about your business too. Like, people are relying on you as you get more serious and as you bring on a good agent. Now you're building something together. It isn't just you who's affected. everything is more real. The other thing I think a lot of actors don't understand when they say that they're ready to level up, if you will, is that there's a real psychological shift. You're no longer an aspiring actor, right? You are a professional actor. You have a good talent agent. You have a team. You might have meetings. You might have industry attention. And, your agent, as we mentioned before, is leveraging their credibility to vouch for you. And you have to deliver. You can't phone one in. You can't take a self-tape off. You really have to polish your product as much as possible. You don't have to book every job, right? You don't have to get every single thing right. You can make mistakes, but you can't take an audition off. You can't phone one in. You can't, half-ass one. Pardon the language. But, if you don't show up, the momentum stalls. And this pressure fosters real growth, right? Pressure builds diamonds. It builds resilience. It builds professionalism. It builds long-term thinking. But you have to embrace it. You have to have the grit and the determination and the ability to lean into the pressure, because this business is not all easy. And so when things get hard, when you get a little bit scared, when you feel out of your comfort zone, that's a real opportunity for growth. So I want to talk about a real world example. This is a client of mine we will call Amanda. When I met Amanda, she was mid-career. She had some good guest stars. I think she had a recurring arc on an episodic at some point, but she had no real strong rep history. She had gotten lucky on some auditions that her reps had gotten her, but mostly her career was built on connections she made. And so when we first met, she sat down in front of me and I asked her the question I ask most actors, which is like, what are you looking to build? Like, what does this career look like? And she presented me with 3 dream projects. And she had done the research. She knew who created those projects. She knew who was directing those projects. And she knew who was casting those projects. She was clear, she was specific, and she was researched. She was, in a word, ready. And so the great thing about that is we were able to look at those career dream projects, if you will, those specific projects, and reverse engineer her materials to match those projects. So, we overhauled her materials, we overhauled her headshots and her tape, and we made very targeted submissions, and we looked for opportunities to put her in rooms or in conversations with the creators of those projects. She ended up booking a guest star on one of those projects that turned into a recurring arc, and then she became actually a fractional series regular on one of those series that she came in and presented to me in that first meeting. Now, do you need to have 3 target shows? No, not necessarily, but I find that the more specific you get, if you have 3 projects in mind, 5 projects in mind, whatever, and you get really specific on those projects, I find that actually helps everything else also, because you're focused. I find that preparation meets opportunity, and that equals momentum. So you have to be prepared, and then, the agent hopefully can help create those opportunities. But if you're not ready, then that momentum goes away. I want you to really sit and reflect and think am I ready for the commitment this is going to require from me, both personally and professionally? Am I ready to rise to that challenge? It's not about getting in the room. It's about staying there. I can get you into a lot of rooms once, but you have to earn that second time. We've all had clients where we sign them, we're very excited, we call around, we get them a lot of auditions, and they never get back into those same rooms. So just make sure that you're ready. If you're going to bring on someone who's relying on you to create commission for them, and to collaborate with them, just make sure that you're able to hold up your end of the bargain. If you enjoyed this content, click that thumbs up button. Hey, while you're at it, why don't you subscribe and leave a comment below saying you're ready to level up your career. Thanks so much. This has been Take Found.